Hello and welcome to the 11th episode of the TFG1 podcast, recorded on April 3rd, 2009. I am your host, Michael Blanchard. Hey everybody, welcome to the 11th episode. Had a couple of different changes and a couple of new content types for the TFG1 podcast. First of all, announcement is that we have gone weekly, only because Steve and I really want to get into the movie review podcast we're going to be doing. That is the M-Wire Movie Week in Review, which will premiere this July 11th, 2009, which is a Saturday. Let's see what else. I've had a format change for Season 3. The rest of Season 2 will still be the paragraph yawning synopsises, unfortunately, because I really don't feel like going back and changing the whole thing. And then again, I would have to go back and watch all the episodes again. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for general chat and email. We did have an email this past episode 10. Thank you very much for that. Hopefully to get more email in the future as the episodes progress. I'm currently working on episode 21 script. Let's see what else. There really isn't that much else to talk about. Actually, I'm going to be doing a display case in this episode, and that's up next. This is the display case. Haven't done display case in a while. I think it was the first couple of episodes that I had talked about BotCon, Shattered Glass Optimus, and Shattered Glass Rodimus. I don't know, I just haven't really thought about doing display case after a while, and then now that I've started getting figures again or whatever, even though I've stopped, if that makes sense, I figured I would do one, only because I'm kind of pissed off right now. This has nothing to really do with G1, it's just, display case, it's all about the toys. Well, yesterday, or 2 days ago, I was at Walmart, and they had one Transformers Animated Blurr left. I was like, okay, it's only $12.88, I mean, for Christ's sake. And it's a deluxe figure, it's Blurr. So I figured, okay, well, I'll get it. And I get it home. 2 days, I leave it in the packaging. This morning, or this afternoon, I decide to take him out of the packaging. First of all, the car mode is awesome. Second of all, wow, I actually sounded like Blur there for a minute. First of all, from the show. Anyway, second of all, the transformation is fucking horrendous. It's super, super complex. I mean, folks, I am a 29-year-old male, and I've been playing with toys my entire life. But I have never come across anything this fucking complex to transform. My Blur, as of right now, has no legs. He looks like Lieutenant Dan without the wheelchair. I'm sorry to say, that's just the way it is. The legs, in the midst of transforming him, the legs popped off. And yeah, they look like they can pop back on, but I can't get them back on. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So, as of right now, Blur has no legs. He is just a body with arms. And the little energy shield saw thingamajig that he comes with, yeah, no, I don't like that. That's just freaking stupid. I like the shield itself, and I like the fact, and whenever eventually I get the legs attached to him again, or somebody helps me attach his legs to his body again, I will probably just have him viewed with the shield. I really like the Autobot Elite Guard symbol. It's really cool. I am glad that they are doing stuff that with the animated line that is not stickers. That was one of my main complaints with the G1 lines. They're all stickers that you have to apply, and as some people that listen to the podcast will know, I am not exactly savvy with stickers and stuff like that there. So, yeah. But overall, I'm glad I have this figure. Very glad that I actually took pictures of him in his car mode before I transformed him, because most of the figures I have now, once they get transformed into robot mode, that's it. That's pretty much it. So, yeah. Also, I wanted to talk about Universe Cyclonus, switching gears for a minute. Universe Cyclonus is something that I was hesitant in getting. The reason why I was hesitant in getting him was because I had seen a couple of bad YouTube reviews, and I wasn't really thrilled with the way he looked. At first I thought he was very not G1-ish, but in my little adventure to Target one day, I went up there and saw him, and he was only, I think, $12, $11, I don't know. He's fairly cheap. Not to say that that's a bad thing, but, you know, whatever. So I got him, and I like the jet mode, or the shuttle mode, or whatever he's supposed to be, but I like the robot mode a hell of a lot better. I just do. Nightstick is really cool. He comes with Nightstick, which was his target master from G1, which is really nice. And I really enjoy the robot mode. It's pretty awesome. It's very, now that I have the figure myself, it's very, very G1-esque. Actually, with me watching more of Season 3 right now to write up the scripts for the podcast, I am noticing a lot of similarities between Universe Cyclonus' figure and the G1 cartoon of Cyclonus. My only problem right now is I can't get the motherfucker to stand up. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I have the legs posed correctly, and he just will not stand up on his own. He wants to basically fall fucking over on his fucking face. I've tried moving the waist back so he's not so top heavy. Wow! He stands up! Hallelujah! Everybody! Yay! Holy shit, I finally got the motherfucking thing to stand up correctly. Woohoo! Damn. So anyway, those are my two purchases of recently. I haven't purchased anything else, and I probably won't, seeing as how, like I've said plenty of times before, I'm currently on a very, very fixed income. And seeing as how my bills are pretty much skyrocketed. Anyway, that's beside the point. So yes, that is Display Case. I will be posting pictures on the PredicaunEmpire.com forums under the Transformers Generation 1 TFG1 podcast subforum, and in the not G1 screenshots, the Display Case thread. I will be posting them in the Display Case thread at PredicaunEmpire.com forums. So everybody can see. Actually, I've already posted pictures of Cyclonus, but I will post my pictures that I've taken of legless Blurr. So yeah, that is the Display Case.
Violence is unnecessary. The paralyzing effect will wear off shortly.
What do you intend to do with us?
Why, sell you, of course. How else will I get the energon I need to power this ship? Not to mention these chambers which remove and restore the free will of your companions. I can't even beat my own machine anymore, and I had it fixed so I could cheat.
I'll show you how it's done.
Very well, Autobot, but if you lose your very existence.
I love a good sport.
Incredible! You're a gambling whiz!
So, we're going to get into some episodes today. The first up is The Gambler. To synopsize this episode. This episode picks up where Child's Play left off. Now, this is truly showing that the episodes are completely out of order. Whether it was production-wise, air date-wise, I'm not sure, because I even mentioned in episode 10 that one of the other episodes in that podcast episode was going to be this episode, and it wasn't. So, yeah. Anyway, this episode picks up where Child's Play left off, with Prime and the other Autobots in a toy rocket blasting through space. When the rocket runs out of power, the Autobots are just floating through space. All of a sudden, they're in a tractor beam and brought about a strange spaceship. They are then imprisoned, and their will is taken over by Bosch, the captain of the ship. He is a gambler and wants to sell the Autobots for Energon to power his ship and his energy-draining machines. Smokescreen breaks out of the enclosure. Oh yeah, that's right, Smokescreen was in this episode. I don't know, I completely forgot about that. And he and Bosch strike a deal. Apparently, Smokescreen is excellent at gambling. Bosch shrinks the Autobots, and they head to a gambling planet. At the gambling planet, Bosch and Smokescreen strike out at all the good gambling establishments. They have to go to the dark side of the planet, where a lord will possibly entertain their offerings. However, Bosch says his offer is too steep a price. Smokescreen accepts, though, and he and Bosch head to the machines to gamble with the Energon chips that they have. The alien life form that is kind of like a pit boss sees Smokescreen's little connection dealy and removes it without him knowing, and they lose everything, so the other Autobots become Lord Gaikini's slaves to fight in the pits. Astrotrain, Dirge, and Ramjet land on the gambling planet, and they head out in search of Energon. An Autobot bounty hunter is tracking them, and the little worm... Oh, okay. And the little worm that works for Lord Gaikini is saved by the bounty hunter. Smokescreen sees this robot and notices that he has an Autobot symbol. Smokescreen stops the fellow Autobot and asks him who he is. The Autobot introduces himself. He is called Defcon. Defcon tells the story of how he left Cybertron millions of years ago, and is now a bounty hunter tracking some bad Decepticons. On a little side note, Defcon is one of my animation cells that came with the Rhino sets, and I didn't know who the hell it was until I saw this episode. The ones he is tracking are the ones that just arrived on the gambling planet, Astrotrain, Dirge, and Ramjet. At Lord Gaikini's establishment, the Decepticon jets are talking with him. Dirge and Ramjet tell the Lord that Megatron is very displeased with him, and that the Decepticon leader believes that Gaikini is skimming Energon off the top. The jets learn of the Autobots fighting the Animalians, or I don't know. It's strange animal / alien. I don't know what the hell it is. Anyway, that evening, and they want to stick around to see it, Gaikini and his subordinates inject the Autobots with unstable energon so they will put on a good show, but not win. Prime is up first, and as Gaikini predicted, he only lasts 2 minutes. But the Lord stops the battle and brings out Inferno to begin the second round. Smokescreen has had enough, and he exits the stands of the arena with Bosch in tow. Outside, Smokescreen drives around to the car entrance of the arena and gives a smoke show, clearing the arena out. Gaikini cannot believe this, and he tells Dirge and Ramjet to get after Smokescreen. Bosch thinks that they've gotten away when the Decepticon jets start attacking them. Defcon shows up and fires on the Decepticons, damaging them and allowing Smokescreen and Bosch to get away. The minion of Gaikini shows up and tells them that the Lord and the Decepticons are at the tarmac ready to leave, and a bot named Astrotrain is parked there. The Autobots get there and the battle ensues again. Astrotrain gets re-energized, but Smokescreen does his smoking thing, and the Decepticons retreat without the stunned Autobots. Bosch says that he will take them back to Earth in his ship, but why not have some R&R first, as the episode ends. Yeah, I don't know. Now, for my thoughts on this episode. First off, I'm really getting tired of Transformers in space. The in-space episodes with the original cast of robots is wearing thin on me. Secondly, at the end of the episode, after Prime and the others are freed from Bosch's control, when they transform, Perceptor is with them, and hello, when did microscopes gain wheels to drive on rough terrain? I do love that the animation that the creators have done in a majority of the Season 2 episodes that I've reviewed so far. The animation, as I've said before, and I'll continue to say it, it's getting better. It is getting so much better. It's very strange to me. I know this cartoon happened back in 1984, but it's very strange to me how long it usually takes animators, producers, whatever, 2 or 3 seasons of a TV show, cartoon, whatever, to get their stride. You'd think that they've done this before, but, with G1 I can kind of put it as passé because obviously it was the first Transformers cartoon. I love seeing Astro Train episodes. He is my number one favorite Decepticons. He is one of my number one favorite Decepticons. Long live the Triple Changers. We are introduced to Defcon, an Autobot bounty hunter in search of Decepticons throughout space. I'm glad I've gone back and watched these episodes because in one of the DVD packages, which I've already mentioned in the synopsis of this episode, there's an animation cell of a Transformer that I didn't know who it was. Well, it turns out it was Defcon. With all these in-space episodes, what the fuck are the Autobots and humans on Earth doing? I bet I find out in the next reviewed episode today.
Attention, systems malfunctioning. Fascinating. Fascinating? You better do something before he... Kremzeek! Kremzeek! Yes, Kremzeek. You will be my ultimate weapon against the Autobots.
Up next is Kremzeek. Before I start the synopsis, I gotta say I really laughed my ass off in this episode. It is just hilarious. So, to synopsize this episode, we begin this episode with Megatron using some sort of energy conductors to create something. What he creates is an energy-killing monster called Kremzeek. The Decepticon leader plans on using this against the Autobots. He tells Thrust to prepare for flight, and they fly over Autobot headquarters, and Megatron lets Kremzeek out of his circuit trap box. Thrust flies in very low to the main entrance of Autobot headquarters and drops off Kremzeek. The little energy destroyer wreaks havoc on the Autobots base. First of all, let's see. The Autobots in a previous episode have put in motion sensors and detection type stuff, so how the fuck could Thrust get that friggin' close without them knowing it? Kremzeek short-circuits a ton of Autobots. Sparkplug thinks of an idea and runs off. He comes back with an insulator compound which he sprays Optimus Prime with. They then get to work insulating all of the Autobots. Only Blaster, Bumblebee, Inferno, and Prime are left functioning in the base. Kremzeek has virtually destroyed everything in the Autobot base. Then he jumps right through Teletran's screen and ends up in Japan. Omega Supreme gets to the base, and they forget to insulate him. Sparkplug stays behind to see if he can get any of the other Autobots functional again. In Japan, the Autobots arrive and Kremzeek pops out of the sand. He tries getting into the Autobots but can't, and then Prime realizes that Omega isn't protected. Kremzeek goes after the giant Autobot and gets him to crash land on the beach. Kremzeek then spots a bullet train and heads for it. Optimus Prime tells the other Autobots to grab on as he transforms, and they head after the train. At the train station stop, the train is stopped by the Autobots, but Kremzeek escapes. In the city, the little energy bastard heads for an arcade, and then the little energy bastard. I can't believe I wrote that in there. Oh, that's funny. He heads for an arcade and then heads into a manufacturing plant that develops electronics. Inside the plant, the operations manager says to try and use radio waves to disrupt the creature. Blaster wants to overload him with his own power, but the doctor says no, he is just feeding the creature's energy. Then all these little Kremzeek clones come out of Blaster, and they run amok. The Decepticons, in this what would be the best described as a B-plot, have had an energy magnet that they're going to use to drain the world's energy. Back in Japan, Optimus Prime gets an idea to rejoin all the little Kremzeeks. However, this backfires when all of them become one giant Kremzeek, and it starts wreaking more havoc on the cities. After the Autobots are drained of their energy from Megatron's energy magnet, Prime realizes that Kremzeek was just a diversion so that Megatron and the Decepticons can drain the energy with the magnet that they have built. Blaster sees a radio antenna and suggests that they send Kremzeek back to Megatron to let him deal with the energy monster for a while. They succeed in doing this. Kremzeek destroys the energy magnet, restoring power to the cities of the world. The Autobots reach the energy magnet where the big Kremzeek is, and they agree he must be dispersed into the air. Even though they don't want to, they do this. Finally, after the ordeal, they head back to where Omega Supreme is, and the doctor that had been helping them agrees to help fix Omega. All of a sudden, Blaster goes haywire, and the original Kremzeek pops out of him. Prime and the others chased after the energy monster as the episode closes. Now for my thoughts on this episode. This was another one of those fun episodes to watch. It was brilliant of Megatron to create the Kremzeek to distract the Autobots of his real plans. The animation on the energy creatures was superb. I really don't have a lot to say about this episode. It pretty much speaks for itself. Hopefully, everyone who still has their G1 sets eventually or one of these days will put in the Season 2 disc that has this episode on it. It's just awesome. Even though it's cheesy, sometimes Generation 1 really did have some awesome, awesome episodes. And this is just another one of those.
Hey, Bumblebee! What do you think of water skiing so far? Whoa! No! Bumblebee, you were great!
Yeah, for a submarine.
Hey, look, the first star of the evening. What do you say we make a wish?
I know what my wish is. No more water skiing. How about yours?
Can't tell you, Bumblebee, because then it won't come true.
Up next is Sea Change. Before I get into the synopsis, I just have to say, there is a running theme throughout G1, and that is either humans become Autobots, Decepticons, whatever, like with Autobot Spike, or Transformers become human. In Sea Change, Sea Spray becomes human at one point, and I'll get into that once I start reading the synopsis. We begin this episode with Sea Spray and Bumblebee on the water. Sea Spray is trying to teach Bumblebee how to water ski. Bumblebee goes over a jump board and then crashes into the sea. The two Autobots come ashore and sit down. Sea Spray sees the first star of the evening and says, why don't they make a wish on it? On a distant planet, robots are enslaving humans by order of some computer called Deceptitran. Well, isn't that obvious? The humans revolt against the robot slave masters, and Deceptitran says that this cannot be happening and he must tell the Decepticons. Back on Earth, Bumblebee tells Sea Spray that he can't wish on every star, just as the nautical bot receives a encrypted message. At Autobot headquarters, Perceptor attempts to decipher the code, but cannot at that moment. Optimus Prime tells Cosmos to take a few of the Autobots to the planet where the distress signal is coming from and investigate. Cosmos says that he can take Bumblebee, Sea Spray, and Perceptor, but Prime's just too darn big. That was actually really funny when he said that. I did laugh when he did that. At the planet, Cosmos arrives, and Decepticon sends out his droids. The Autobots realize that they have answered a Decepticon distress call from the old war on Cybertron. The humans on the planet help the Autobots, but Cosmos is badly damaged. Sea Spray meets Alana, and he is very smitten with her. Okay, more of robot human. Yeah. Let's not go there, because just a whole bunch of bad thoughts just came into my head. At that moment, Astrotrain arrives on the planet, bringing with him Megatron, Soundwave, and Dirge. They meet up with Decepticon, and the robot tells them that he and his droids... he has his droids after the humans and Autobots. Alana and the other humans tell the Autobots about the Well of Transformation, but that it only works on humans and destroys robots, as they just saw 2 droids get destroyed. Alana tells Bumblebee and Sea Spray to meet them at the second step of the waterfall. The water is safe there. Once they get there, they don't see Alana or the others anywhere, but Bumblebee spots Laserbeak, and the rest of the Decepticons attack them. Sea Spray transforms, and the others grab onto him, but they go over the waterfall. Bumblebee gets captured, and the Decepticons hook him up to some machine that will make him tell the truth. At the underwater city, Sea Spray decides that they have to go after Bumblebee before the Decepticons can get any information out of him about the Well of Transformation. The humans make an explosive circular charge on a main column, holding the temple together, and Sea Spray and Alana bust into the temple, getting Bumblebee out of there. The Mer people get Bumblebee underwater, but Laserbeak follows them. Decepticon tells Megatron that they just barged in like a bunch of barbarians, and the computer is being very hysterical, and Megatron shuts it down. The evil leader gets information from Laserbeak that he has found the hidden city of the Mer people. Sea Spray and Alana are outnumbered by the droids, and they have to retreat into the cave. Sea Spray shows some human traits, and he wants to try and find out if the Well of Transformation will work on him. Alana tells him not to, but he dives in anyways. He becomes a Mer person, and the Decepticons find the city and start blasting it. Sea Spray must change back into his robot form to fight the Decepticons. Megatron sends Rumble after them, but Sea Spray and Alana trap Rumble, and they both change into robots. Sea Spray and Alana make an attempt at destroying Decepticron's temple. Alana reprograms Decepticon and tells him to have the droids go after the Decepticons. Sea Spray runs into the Energon warehouse and destroys all the Energon before Megatron or the Decepticons can stop him. The entire floating city is being destroyed, and the Decepticons retreat. Alana and Sea Spray motor off into the night, and Bumblebee sees the first star of the evening. He asks the others if they want to make a wish, but Perceptor asks whatever for, to which Bumblebee replies, "I don't know, just an old Earth superstition I heard of," and the episode ends. Thoughts on this episode? The episode was very different in the fact that it showed the character depth in Sea Spray, and it also showed him as a human for a few moments. Well, a human with metal feet. This goes back to what Bumblebee said in Season 1 about how he wondered it would be like if an Autobot was a human. The water animation scenes were excellent, and it is very hard to animate water. That's pretty much all I have to say about this episode. There really wasn't... I really don't know. It's not one that I absolutely hate, and it's not one that I absolutely love. It's kind of like right there in the middle, like it's just there. As I've said before, I think this is the second underwater Mer person episode. Yeah, Atlantis Arise was the first, Atlantis Arise. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on this one. Throw.
I will lure Megatron into our trap.
Why not let Starscream?
Ha! He's been trying to dethrone Megatron for years. He's a failure.
Failure? I have not failed. I have just been waiting for the right time, that's all. And that time is now. I will get Megatron.
Well, fooling him was easy.
No planet ever lost its orbit, underestimating the stupidity of Starscream.
Victory is ours! What do you mean, ours? You broke my scoreboard. We built your maze. Now you keep your part of the bargain. What bargain? You promised us a partnership in leading the Decepticons. Tell you what, guys. Why don't you go build a bridge and jump off it? Constructicons, transform into Devastator! Hey, no offense, big guy.
Shut up! The triple changers are my lunch, not his. I think we'll need a program to follow the players. Want to hear victory music?
Hey, partner.
Huh?
I could use a little help, buddy.
Yeah, sure. Right after I settle the score with you. You're next, Blitzwing. Get this straight. I am Decepticon leader. You are recyclable.
Well put, Megatron.
Constructicons are leaders too. Blitzwing promised. You tried to hurt Devastator.
Megatron is a wimp.
So is Starscream.
Yes, but I'm fast.
We've got to band together to stop Devastator.
I'm with you guys.
No, you're not, traitor.
I see two traitors here. Megatron, you're making a mistake.
Starscream's the
Why not? Are they too close to the truth?
No, Ironhide. They're not shooting at us.
Oh, sorry, Chief. I'm just aching to sink my teeth into some Decepticon hide. What? You'll mix their molecules with the atmosphere.
No. The Decepticon cause supersedes personal vengeance. But never forget that I, Megatron, will always be leader of the Decepticons!
I guess Prime was right. Megatron took care of the Decepticons for us.
Up next is Triple Takeover. Woohoo! Finally, an all triple changer episode. Granted, the only triple changers we have right now are Astrotrain and Blitzwing, but they fucking rule. To synopsize this episode is pretty cut and dry. As I just said, it is a Astrotrain Blitzwing centric storyline where they try and overthrow Megatron, which normally you would not see that. Normally it's Starscream trying to become leader. As you can tell by the title, it is kinda self-explanatory. Blitzwing and Astrotrain trap Starscream and Megatron in a sewer where they seal off a section, trapping the evildoers in it, and then pump negative 470 degree temperatures into the shaft, freezing Megatron and Starscream. Blitzwing then barges into a college football stadium and takes it over as his base. He mistakes the football coach for a military leader and holds him hostage. Oh my god. I remember watching this now. Holy crap. Astrotrain takes over, a train yard as his base. The coach tells Blitzwing to go into a zone defense, and the Triple Changer has the Constructicons building a highway maze around the stadium. The Autobots are en route to the stadium because that's where Optimus Prime said blasts were coming from. The Autobots arrive, and the Constructicons want to engage them, but Blitzwing wants them all for himself. After destroying several of the Autobots, Blitzwing keeps adding points to the scoreboard. Astrotrain has assembled a train force to harness and collect energy from gas and electrical mains. But these unintelligent machines mess everything up and hit a water main. Because of the water main bursting, it melts and thaws out Megatron and Starscream. The leader yells at Starscream, and the bumbling underling tries to explain that the Triple Changers tricked him. With the water out of control, Optimus Prime and Ironhide show up to help. However, Prime's attempts to stop the flooding don't work, and Spike gets carried off in the current. Prime finds the water main, and Ironhide seals it up, while at the football stadium, the Decepticons are fighting each other, and even though Ironhide wants to get into the battle, Prime tells him not to because the Decepticons aren't shooting at them. Megatron eventually says that the Decepticon cause is more important than personal feelings, and they retreat, after which the Autobots head for home, and the episode ends. Now, for my thoughts on this episode. I loved this episode, mainly because, as I said in the synopsis, it's an Astrotrain and Blitzwing-centric episode. I've always liked Astrotrain the most out of all the G1 pre-movie Decepticons. The animation in this episode was excellent. There was only one flub that I saw, which is the same flub we always see about the Seekers being each other's colors. I really don't have that much to say about some of the episodes today because Triple Takeover. I loved it. It was great. Just there really isn't... Maybe it's me slacking off, but I really haven't noticed that much stuff when I'm watching these. I really haven't. And the animation has gotten so much better than the first 6 or 7 G1 episodes from Season 1. So, yeah, I really don't have anything else to say on this one.
Boss, send Teletran 1 your exact coordinates.
Right away, Prime.
Greetings, Optimus Prime. Forgive the interruption, but you see, your friends can't wait for your arrival.
Who are you, and what do you want?
Chumley's the name, and hunting's my game. I'm offering you a sporting chance to rescue your companions.
Torture isn't sport, but I accept your challenge.
Oh, good show, Mr. Prime. Directions will be forthcoming. I can't wait to begin.
Fine, then let's begin now.
He does have a temper, doesn't he, Dinsmore?
Let's get in there and wham-bang, kick some tail.
No, Warpath. I'm going in there myself. If he wants a 1-to-1 battle, he's gonna get it.
Your task is to find them before something rather unpleasant happens.
You better hope I find them before I find you.
Beautiful creature, isn't he, Prime? The object of years of patient stalking through the uncharted interior of Borneo. Bravo! Bravo! Magnificent creature, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely, sir. It's too bad he fell into the drink.
I'm referring to Optimus Prime. Oh, well, enough of this sport. I think it's high time we bagged our game, Dinsmore. Release the net!
So, you think a simple net is all you need to bag me? You'll have to do better than that, Lord Chumley.
And finally up today we have Prime Target. To synopsize this episode, we begin this episode with a Russian female pilot being shot down over some ice glaciers. She ejects and travels to the spot where her plane went down, and then which is gone. The plane is just fucking gone. It disappeared. Then we are taken to a large estate and a man named Lord Chumley, who is a great hunter who wants the ultimate catch, Optimus Prime's head. Trax and Bumblebee are heading into the city to get supplies for the Autobots. They stop at an electronics store and see a news report of the shot-down secret Russian jet. Then they spot Blitzwing and Astrotrain, however. They are holograms, and Trax and Bumblebee are caught in a trap. A trap set by Lord Chumley. At Autobot headquarters, the Autobots are standing around watching a soap opera when the news breaks in. After hearing the report, Prime doesn't think that the Decepticons are behind the stolen jet. Optimus is worried that Bumblebee and Trax haven't reported in yet. One by one, the Autobots are picked off by Lord Chumley. Optimus Prime recalls the remaining Autobots to headquarters. Cosmos calls in with information on where the other Autobots are being held, but Chumley interrupts the transmission and challenges Optimus Prime to a one-on-one fight. When Prime gets to the battleground, Chumley releases a few monsters, but Prime defeats them only to be captured in an energy net. However, he escapes, and then Chumley tries to fool Prime into saving a helpless woman. Optimus Prime is much smarter than that. Since this has happened, the Triple Changers have arrived, and Blitzwing goes to kick the trap that the holographic woman is attached to, while this releases some sort of green goo. Yes, folks, that's right, I said goo. Astrotrain interferes with the battle between Optimus and Chumley. For this, the Lord captures both Blitzwing and Astrotrain. In the torture chamber, Bumblebee attempts to send a signal to Prime so that the leader can find them. Optimus starts heading for the castle. Once there, he breaks into the torture chamber and frees the Autobots. Chumley asks the Decepticon captives if they will help him fight the Autobots if he frees them. Astrotrain says, "Trust us," and the Lord frees them, but you should never trust a Decepticon. They go after Chumley when the freed Autobots enter and are going to do battle with them. They escape, and Prime delivers the stolen jet with Chumley tied to it, bringing peace to the world once again, thus ending this episode. Da-da-da. Now for my thoughts on this final episode today. The best part of this episode, I thought, was at the end. When Blitzwing and Astrotrain retreat, Astrotrain does an upside-down transformation into a shuttle mode. Other than that, I didn't care too much for this episode at all. The only other good aspect is the fact that a human hunter outsmarted Megatron in 2 days, capturing 10 Autobots. That's more than Megatron has ever done in the past 2 years, according to Starscream. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I really don't have too much other thoughts on this episode. I thought it was kind of weird that a human villain pretty much did more than Megatron. It kind of shows that Megatron, for the most part, is kind of stupid sometimes. So, yep, that's all for my thoughts on this episode.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Mike the Birdman Dodd from 1150 AM's Mike Miller Morning Show and ThisWeekInGeek.net. And you are locked into the TFG1 podcast, about the best damn podcast there is. Well, except my own stuff anyway.
Are you a fan of Transformers? Yes. Then be sure to visit PredaconEmpire.com, your resource for Transformers media and more. Also be sure to check out our podcasts, All Things Transformers and the TFG1 podcast. I'm Steve/Megatron, inviting you to come join the fun on the shows and the forums. So be sure to visit PredaconEmpire.com for all your Transformers needs. Enter now.
From Iron Man to the Dark Knight, from Spider-Man to the X-Men, from Adventures in Babysitting to Torque, the M-Wire has all your movie review needs, a weekly podcast from PrediconEmpire.com, reviewing all movies.
We now return to the Transformers.
Well, that's all for this episode of the TFG1 podcast. Join me next time when I'll be reviewing 4 more episodes from Transformers Generation 1, Season 2. Those being Autobop, The Search for Alpha Trion, The Girl Who Loved Powerglide, which I absolutely fucking hate, and I pretty much rant in that entire episode, or that review of that episode, and Hoist Goes Hollywood. Thank you for joining me on the TFG1 podcast. There are 4 ways to get in touch with me or leave feedback for the podcast. The first is that you can visit the PrediconEmpire.com forums and get all your Transformers discussion topics there. The second is that you can follow me on Twitter. My name on there is TFG1 Podcast. A little note about Twitter, I do have my updates protected, so you will have to send me a follow request, and yeah. If anyone wants to follow me on Twitter beforehand and they're listening to the podcast, just send me an email saying that you're going to send me a request. The third is that you can visit the Earth2.net forums. I have a thread over there under the banter section for the podcast. And the fourth, of course, as I just stated, is the email address, which is tfg1podcast@gmail.com. For now, I am Michael Blanchard, saying in the immortal words of Optimus Prime, transform and roll out. And thank you for listening. Until next time.